I feel like I've been congratulating you a lot lately, but this is probably going to be the last one for a while. I just want to say congratulations, you've been hired. In this video, I want to discuss what to expect in your first few weeks on the job, give you some tips on how to be successful, and a few traps to look out for. Justin here with Succeeded IT. I'll be your IT career coach, helping you start and grow your career in IT into something you love and to create the success you want. Let's get into it. This video is for you if you've been hired into your first IT role. That is pretty awesome, and here's what you should expect. Onboarding. So typically you're going to be given a place to sit, a computer, a phone, and an email address. You're going to be instructed or shown about all the different tools and systems that you're going to have to use in order to do the job. It's also very common to have some sort of onboarding training that's more formal on the computer, like some videos, and sometimes they'll have some tests. A lot of this stuff will just be HR stuff. It will be things that you just have to complete to say that you agree with the company's policy on X, Y, and Z. And then some of the other onboarding videos or training materials might be related to your on-the-job duties. Typically, in your first few weeks, you're also going to do some shadowing where you follow a coworker around and they kind of do some on-the-job training with you. This will give you an opportunity to see what a lot of the day-to-day activities are and learn how they're handled by one of your colleagues. This is one of the best ways to learn some of the new on-the-job training. If you're not given anybody to shadow in your first few weeks on the job, I would recommend going to your manager and just asking if there's any chance that you could shadow somebody to make sure that you learn a lot of the processes and the way things are done around there successfully. You should also expect to feel overwhelmed. This is inevitable. You're going to be bombarded with lots of information. You're going to be meeting lots of new people. You're going to have a lot of new terms that you're learning, a lot of new systems that you're learning, and it's just going to be common to feel overwhelmed at times. But this is totally normal, and it's okay. Especially the first few months will be very overwhelming. My advice is to make sure you give 100% every day. If you need to work a little bit longer to complete the training or to figure something out or to just get your job done, then do that. Because this won't last forever. The overwhelming feeling is a temporary feeling. In my experience, getting into a new role or in a new company or a new client, I only have felt overwhelmed between the first 1 to 3 months, depending on the job. And then after that, you start to get into the swing of things. You're going to start to have a flow. You're going to feel confident about your ability to do the job. So don't let the first few months of overwhelming feelings make you think that you're not qualified for the job or that this is too hard of a job. It might seem hard at first, but just continue to work on making things easier. Here's some of my tips on how to be successful in your first few weeks. Number 1, get lots of sleep. The brain kind of acts like a sponge with new information, and you're going to be bombarded with so much new stuff that there might be some days or some times that your brain just feels like it can't take in any new information. This is totally fine. It will pass. And the best recommendation I have for you on how to deal with this is to make sure that you're getting lots of sleep and to make sure that you're eating healthy. Getting lots of sleep will help cure this because this will give time for the brain to process new information and to do its own little subconscious work and give you kind of a fresh start the next day. My next tip is to make sure that you show up on time or even a little early every day. This should be a no-brainer, but make sure that you show up every day on time or a little early. People tend to remember the outliers. If you're late just one time, that will be remembered. Nobody's going to remember the 30 days that you showed up on time because they're going to remember that one day that you didn't show up on time. Unfortunately, this is just the way people think, and it's just part of nature. It kind of sucks, but nobody remembers when you did everything right. They only remember when you messed up that one time. And if something comes up where you are going to be late, then you need to make sure that you contact your manager and explain why you're going to be late and what time you're going to be in, and make sure you do this before you're supposed to be at work. Let's say you're supposed to be at work at 8. Make sure you contact your manager before 8 and explain that you're going to be late because some emergency came up or something happened. And then this is usually, this is okay because you communicated effectively. My next tip, and probably the most important, is to pay attention. Make sure you don't have your phone out, you're not on social media, you're not playing games, you're not chatting with other people, because you need to ensure that you're giving 100% focus to everything that you're learning how to do. You don't want to have to ask how to do anything twice. In fact, try your hardest to not have to ask anything twice. Take as many notes as possible. If there's something that can't be memorable with just a few steps on how to do it, make sure you're taking notes on what the system is or what it's used for and how to go about the process, especially if it's something that you're going to have to do every day and it's a similar process every time you use it. Make step-by-step notes on how to go from A to Z, and make sure that you don't have to go back to your manager a second time, a third time, or a fourth time asking how to do the same thing that they already told you how to do. So pay attention and take notes. My next tip is to make introductions and make friends. Sometimes it's tough to be outgoing and kind of confident at a new job location. And there's a lot of new people you don't know, and sometimes it can feel a little bit overwhelming. But just try to be friendly and a little bit outgoing. And when you see somebody you don't know, introduce yourself. Tell them who you are and what role you're in, and ask them, what they do for the company. And when they tell you their name, make sure you're paying attention. This goes back to always pay attention. Make sure you look at them and say it back to them. Say, "Oh, nice to meet you, Joe," or whoever their name is. Because you need to start remembering, put it in the memory bank. That's Joe. Because a lot of times we kind of just space off, or we're thinking about what we want to say next while somebody's telling us their name. And literally 5 seconds after somebody tells us their name, it's easy to say "Oh, I forgot what their name is." And now you're scrambling to try to remember their name or hear their name again. Just pay attention the first time and say their name back to them. And if you do run into them again and you don't remember their name, don't sweat it. Just tell them that you don't remember their name. It's much easier to just walk up and say, "Hey, it was great to meet you the other day. I've met so many new people on the job, it's hard for me to keep track of everybody's names. My name's Justin. What was your name again?" And they'll tell you. It's no big deal. But again, make sure you're listening, because if they tell you a second time, that should be enough. Okay? You have to really make sure you're listening and putting it in the memory bank. In addition to these tips, I want to give you some traps to look out for. Okay? So the first thing that you want to make sure that you don't do is eat a heavy lunch. You don't want to eat something that's going to put you into a food coma the whole afternoon. This goes back to paying attention. If you eat something that makes you feel sleepy and foggy, you're going to have a hard time paying attention. You're not going to remember what somebody told you to do, and your overall capacity to focus will be reduced drastically for quite a few hours. And if you just eat a lighter lunch, don't eat something that's too heavy, just think about what foods make you feel sleepy and what foods don't make you feel sleepy, and eat something lighter. Eat just a salad, eat, whatever that is for you. Just don't get into a food coma. Another thing to look out for is negative and unfriendly coworkers. Don't let somebody else's bad day ruin how much you love your new job. It might not be very obvious, but negativity from other people around you can spread throughout the office. And if somebody's having a really bad day and they're just so negative about everything, it can be a little bit easy to fall into the trap of also viewing things in a negative light. And this will then continue to spread throughout your day like dominoes. So just let it, like water under the bridge, let it go, and bring positivity and happiness to your new job every day. Another thing that you have to look out for is politics. It's not very common to end up getting involved in any type of politics or workplace drama early on the job, but you do want to watch out for getting pulled into somebody else's opinion about other people. An example of this is that you might have some coworkers, right, that are helping you out on the job, and they're showing you how to do your job, and maybe you go to lunch with them and you're introducing yourself to other people, and the coworker that you're shadowing might say something negative about somebody else. Don't let their opinion of that person become your opinion. Just continue to build positive relationships with people, and don't let the experience that somebody else has had cloud your judgment. In summary, bring a positive attitude, focus on your job, and care about your work. You're gonna do great. Thanks for tuning in this week. I've got a new video coming out every Tuesday, so subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Share my videos with any of your friends or colleagues. Give me a thumbs up because this will help other people find my content on YouTube, and I'll see you next week.